Chuma Memela, and we're asking the question today on a Tech Tuesday: is humanity in a race against time with AI? And yeah, let's go to him and say good morning there and find out how he's feeling, how he's doing. Good morning, Combs.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Quax. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I am awesome, awesome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
I think I must say that. And good morning to the viewers back at home.
Nice. Okay, I think first things first, let's find out a little bit about you. We all know that yes, you are Kuma, but where did the whole AI kind of enthusiasm come about?
Okay, cool. So I come from the University of Fort Hare.
Mm,
I did my undergraduate there, honors. I'm doing my master's now. So I did my undergraduate in economics.
mm,
Around the, call it third year, I started to observe the world and look where the world is going.
Sure.
So I made the jump. I said, hey, let me go to tech. This is a backdrop after I'd convinced myself I'm not good with computers. So did well in honors, finished top of my class.
Nice.
And then after that, ChatGPT came out at the end of 2022.
Sure.
So this whole buzz just consumed me, and being a curious individual, I really just dove into that, and it really it was sort of, it took me by storm.
Yeah.
And then initially I was into data,
Okay.
data analytics and so forth, and I thought I wanted to do that as a career until I met my coach Ndlovu. He's a tech coach, 5 times certified, and then he directed me into the direction of AI, and I just hit the ground running. I created my whole LinkedIn on that.
Okay.
And that is where I'm placing my bet for the next 20 years. I think that's going to be the single most important thing that's going to transform the world.
Definitely.
So that's a little bit about myself.
Nice. I love it. Okay, so let's talk just general perspectives, right?
Cool.
What does the phase race against time on AI mean to you?
Cool. When I Quax, I don't like the phrasing of that.
Okay.
Because this is not the way it's phrased is that against. And I would like to describe this as, it's like you living in front of the ocean, building a house, knowing that kukhona tsunami coming in the next 2 weeks. The wave is going to hit you and you're going to die. It doesn't help. It's like standing in front of a train. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to position yourself so that you can catch the wave of AI. And this is what I always promote. So to try and say we are racing against, no. I'm very pro tech. I'm very pro change, and I think that we must continuously evolve as individuals. Those who can't adapt will die, unfortunately.
That's right. That's right. And how significant is the process in AI development over the past decade?
Over the past decade, I can't comment on that, but I can tell you this: there has been a massive explosion over the past 2 years. AI is not something new. It's been there for more than 2 decades.
Sure.
But it's been there at a very primitive level. Now that we saw the great stride from OpenAI, which is the mother company of ChatGPT, that's where now the storm really started to make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
And from just that large language model created by OpenAI, ChatGPT, so many applications have been built around that. Because it's the first piece of generative AI that is the closest thing to human intelligence. And even that is still in its primitive form. So if we are amazed now, I wonder what's going to happen in the next 10 years.
You know what? Speaking of intelligence, so Musha and I were obviously having a conversation in the first hour. What we do tech trends, right?
Okay.
And there was something within the tech trends that kind of helps you. And we were just talking about how AI has kind of made us a little bit stupid, right? We rely on things like chat, like just imagine, like we have questions that we normally kind of do it ourselves, but we head over to Chatty and we're like, yo, Chatty, help us out. Do you think, honestly speaking now, do you think that we are going to become less intelligent the more evolved AI gets?
Quax, it's a choice.
Okay.
It's a choice.
Okay.
You can either let AI use you or you can use AI.
Okay.
So AI is a tool. It's not there to replace human beings. So for instance, yes, I know it's very tempting to go to ChatGPT and ask it questions when you need quick answers, right? But it's very important to have domain knowledge. So for instance, We can go on ChatGPT and ask about radio. How do I conduct a radio show?
Mm.
I might not be able to pick it up when it's telling me things that are not true, but you might, because you've got context, you've got the data, you live this, you do this, right?
Sure.
Now, I do think people who abuse artificial intelligence are going to bear the brunt, and I don't want to say stupid, but they will lose that ability to learn and that thirst for knowledge. You know? But if you can use AI to augment, to assist, you know, to help your learning journey, then you're going to go very far, because just like the internet, you can't argue that the internet has made you dumber. If anything, it's made you smarter. The same is true for artificial intelligence. If you know how to use the thing, then it will propel you forward.
Okay, yes, I agree. I take it. Can we quickly just talk about the most promising areas of AI in terms of research currently?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. I'm a researcher by trade. You know, that's my bread and butter. But I don't know what you mean by research, but maybe let me tackle the question collectively. So, of course, AI is applicable in all domains of life.
Sure.
You know, or let me say most, right? In health, I know Google is trying to solve some serious health issues, diseases around Africa using machine learning, of which AI is a subset of machine learning. We've got AI in law, for instance. You know, I've always said people in law are very safe and so forth. I was watching a YouTube channel, my favorite YouTube channel, EO. There's a startup in America. It's just 10 guys. They valued at over 200 million. It's a startup where you can ask AI to help you fight your legal battles for car tickets. So that alone, you know, and then there's the application of AI, self-driving cars, wearables. You've got applications where you can go into your fridge, take a video, and you ask the thing to, you know, ask it what food can you make out of this, what recipe. So it's really exciting. And there's not one field where AI is just growing. It's finding its way through the cracks in every single domain. And this is why I say nobody's safe. Nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe.
Yeah, look, do you know there is a mall in China,
cool,
right, where you literally just walk up and you have a screen. You basically select what you want, and you don't have to move around and go into the aisles or whatever. You just select what you want, and they bring it to you, like them robots just bring it to you, and then you go ahead with your life, like that easy. That's so it is really infiltrating in everything,
every arena.
Definitely. Let's quickly go talk about technology advancements, right? I want to know from you, what are the key breakthroughs in AI that have kind of accelerated its development? And how close are we to achieving artificial general intelligence?
Hey, you know, Quax, I don't want to form part of the crowd that tends to push this narrative that robots will one day replace us.
Yeah,
I'm not of that view. I don't come from that school of thought.
Okay.
I still very much believe AI is a tool. So I don't think we'll ever achieve general artificial intelligence. You know, now we might get close to that.
Sure.
For instance, we've got your Elon Musk of the world that are developing that chip, that neural link, where he wants to place a chip inside of your head.
It's already done.
Done.
He actually did it. The first successful one has been done. Now they are kind of want to see how long it's going to last.
Okay.
So that's the stage we're in right now. But yeah, that's already done. Yeah, no.
Well, no, that's very interesting. I need to go read up on that. Thank you so much, my sister. But I think what really separates us from artificial intelligence, right, is, like I said earlier, humans have context. Humans have access to data that AI doesn't have. So artificial intelligence is only as useful insofar as what data it has access to, right? So, for instance, even if you go on ChatGPT, if you prompt it poorly, it will give you poor responses. But if you prompt it very well, it'll give you more specific answers. The same is true now, is that it is impossible to plug in a computer system into life because there's no life database. It only has access to information that is in a database.
Yeah.
So we will forever be ahead, of artificial intelligence, and we'll never reach a level where there's general artificial intelligence. Now, I think another key thing for people, this is what the futurists have said, is that by 2030, we're going to be needing skills, people who are creative, people who are proactive, and people who can think for themselves, because that's something AI can't do. It can think based on the data it has, but can it come up with the next Facebook? Can it come up with the next Neuralink? No, it needs people, and we need smart people who can think, visualize, and use AI to get us to that next level.
Sure. Yes, I'll answer that one very nicely.
I'm glad you're happy about it.
Okay, so what role do major tech companies then play in this race? I know that you don't like the word race, but what roles do major tech companies then play in this race to develop advanced AI?
Well, they are at the forefront. I mean, we're talking business here.
Sure.
They have a triple bottom line. They want their profit, So
Sure.
we're seeing we saw, of course, open AI coming straight off the gate. Everyone was sleeping and they came out with their whole thing,
Guns blazing,
and they were in, what do you call this? It was a not for profit. Microsoft came in, bought 49% of them. You've got your Googles, who are caught also with their pants down, and they quickly had to develop their Google Bard, which is now Gemini. You had your Microsoft Copilot, you had your Claude. So all of these companies are trying to be at the front, and some other people have said that the most powerful people or organizations of the world are going to be companies with the most advanced AI models. It won't be governments, it won't be, armies, it'll be those companies that have the most advanced AI models or tools.
I think right now, let's quickly just move on to ethical and social implications.
Yes.
Because let's be honest, there are a lot of those.
Indeed.
Right?
Indeed.
What are the potential risks of advancing AI technology too quickly? Because, as we know, in terms of, in South Africa, there's a large part of us who are not necessarily involved in this AI.
True.
We're not. We're falling a little bit behind. And is it being developed too quickly that we're falling behind? Is enough being done for everyone to kind of join in? Or what's the story? What's going on?
Ethics. A very key part of this artificial intelligence. No, and Quax, the thing is, I think in my view, the ethical element when it comes to technology and technology companies, they generally, based on history, they have only abided by ethics when they have been caught out by the public. So I can't guarantee that these technology companies are actually concerned about developing ethical AI. I know Microsoft is committed to developing ethical AI, but that's what they say. Now, unless we have government, at the forefront, once again, playing their role, building legislation, regulating this thing, then, but I must also say, one of the concerns, given that you asked, is that AI has certain biases given the data that is available. So because of those things, whoever's developing these AI models and AI tools needs to be cognizant of those biases that may be there in the data, because if the data is biased, the outcome is going to be biased.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions here on Facebook. that I want you to answer for the people that are obviously listening. Mutsao has come through and said, look, excellent conversation. Can you please just touch on the point of how exactly AI will transform education and work? Will we still need schools and universities, and what will work be like?
Oh, my brother, thank you very much. listen, man, we'll always need schools and we'll always need work, right?
Mm.
Now, it might change how schooling is done. You know,
Sure.
we've seen even high schools now moving online.
Yeah.
I know there's one out in Cape Town. A lot of universities, I think UNISA was very ahead of its time, you know, with the distance learning. But that's where learning is going, and we'll forever need schools.
Mm.
And I don't think there's been these talks with technology advancing that do we need universities? And I'll say, in as much as I've been a critique of education, the way it's conducted is that it's too structured, it's not up to date with tech trends and so forth. Universities are places of learning, networking, and they still certify that you've completed a particular degree or particular course and so forth. So I think that institution will forever be protected. Now, in terms of work, I think this is where the major concern is, because here we're dealing with business, and business is concerned about driving profits, driving revenue, and making sure that their shareholders are happy. And this is where, as a person, you need to make sure that you position yourself very well so that when the time comes where there are shifts in the way work is being done, you are well positioned and you make yourself very useful within that space and not form part of the people that are going to be replaced. So, for instance, if you are doing just tedious, repetitive tasks that a computer can do, you are in big trouble.
Sure.
And you probably want to go and upskill yourself.
Yeah.
Right. But if you are engaged in intelligent work that requires thought, you're probably very safe, and you want to build yourself more in that. So the real question you want to ask yourself is, can I be replaced?
Yeah.
And you know the answer to that.
Yeah.
or you can chat GPT the answer.
we have another comment here, not necessarily a question per se, but it's a comment, and it's from Afik, and she's basically saying, look, she's in the accounting auditing space, and she must say that AI has been very helpful in data collection from various sources. However, she feels that we still need people to synthesize the data and make it applicable to the client environment, and making sure value is created in those industries. Care to comment?
Yes. Africa, thank you so much for the comment. We must understand that at this stage, AI has succeeded in terms of generative AI.
Sure.
Right? So the artificial intelligence that we have right now that is the most advanced is your chat GPTs of the world, right?
Sure.
So those are large language models. Those are not mathematical models. This is why when people do math with chat GPT and science and they're like, it's giving wrong answers, it's not meant for that. You know, this is a smart university professor. That's what ChatGPT is. It is not a mathematician. So the same is true with the accounting fraternity. Over time, you know, I know Microsoft has this thing called Microsoft Vision. I don't know if you use an iPhone, but sometimes you're able to copy text from a picture and copy and paste. That thing is going to be developed, and it's going to get to a point where you can take pictures of all of your slips. It'll do all the auditing, the accounting, your invoices and financial statements. That's where we're going to go. But it's still very much in its primitive form right now. So let's give it 5-10 years. But yes, you know, I know accountants now are even into Power BI to visualize their data. So that's tech being infused in the field of accounting right there. Thank you so much for the comment, Afik.
Inga, but Inga is out here just doing the most.
Ginger Inga.
Of course, Ginger Inga. Gingerbread man. What you Ginger? My worry is that Terminator and the Matrix have already warned us about AI. But he's like, look, loving the conversation. I love the point that Ukuma makes about using AI to assist you in your domain. And it is reaffirming and expanding existing knowledge. Do you feel that is true? Do you feel that movies like the Matrix and movies like they warned us about AI?
Hey, Gingerbread man, thank you for the comment, my brother. I'm not big on movies.
Okay.
So I don't recall, but I have a vague idea of those two movies. But the point is, movies do somewhat predict the future.
Sure.
Now, the severity of that situation, if life will turn out like Terminator or the Matrix, that one is questionable. You know, because we that's a very fictional version of artificial intelligence. But it's not impossible to develop robots that can kill people at a mass scale. So it might not be exactly like it is in the movies, but
a version of it.
Indeed. I mean, you these days you can fight a war from where you are. You could fight a war from this room. You don't have to leave. So possibly that could be true, but I hope not, or at least I hope I'm not here when that happens.
Yeah, no, I don't want to be part of that situation at all. I don't think I'm good in I don't think I'm good like in a war type situation. Like I would hide or okay, let me just die. Like it's over.
Yeah. They always said answer. That's the
we're always the first to go.
It's the first.
All right. Chuma is saying that my only worry about AI is military integration. We're already witnessing nations misusing their power, and it's very interesting what the future holds. Indeed, right?
Yeah, Chuma's definitely right. I think one example, if I can take a page out of Elon Musk's book, he said that the AI we have right now, given that we have facial recognition, we've got drones, we've got facial recognition, and you can attach bombs to drones.
Sure.
So just simply, as he put it, military integration of AI, right? You can take a drone, make it have facial recognition capabilities, you tell it which individuals to go target in the battlefield, and it goes specifically to those people, and it will not go bomb anyone until it sees that particular face. And you see, you could fight that war from 2,000 miles away.
Do you know what's crazy? That there's the movie, I think it was Morgan Freeman was in that movie, where they literally was like dee, 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 and the drone flew and was just killing all this. So I don't know if they were Secret Service agents.
Yes.
And everyone just died.
And it just left him and his bodyguard.
Quax,
that is not fictional. That is possible with the technology we have right now.
Yeah. Let's move on to another question we have here by Asanda. OTN, the truth is not many of us in the Eastern Cape are educated when it comes to tech. As a tech expert yourself, Chuma, how do you think we can play catch up in order to equip future generations with the needed skills to utilize tech and AI to develop our province, especially the rural areas?
Is that Mr. Makaka?
Yes.
Oh, greetings, my brother. Love that man. Big fan. This is part of the reason why I'm very loud on LinkedIn, but we'll dissect that another day.
Sure.
Mr. Makaka, mine is simple. I really believe technology is the ultimate equalizer. You know other people try to equalize society and so forth.
Yeah.
I think if you can give kids access to a laptop and the internet, and just inspire them to have a thirst for knowledge, I think that is the ultimate equalizer to a lot of things that we have.
Sure.
Right? Because if you have that, you have, in essence, you have access to the world. Right? Now, of course, there is the digital divide. For instance, I was lecturing last year a class of over 314 students, right? Most of them come from the deep Eastern Cape, the deep rural. They've never seen a computer in their life. First time is in my class.
Sure.
Now you take someone like me, for instance. I was raised here in East London. I've been working with computers since I was in grade 4. Look at the 10+ year gap. You see, so there's always going to be that challenge. But what we need to do is to make technology accessible. And these kids love playing with phones. Like I know they're very good with cell phones.
So good
From a young age.
Sure.
So if we can democratize technology and internet, then we can begin to close that gap, because people are very creative, and if we can just give them the tools and leave them to their own devices, of course, with a bit of guidance, I think we can get somewhere.
Yeah. All right, I want us to move on to the impact of jobs and the economy. And I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, but how might rapid advancement in AI impact the job market?
Quax is a double-sided sword.
Yeah.
Let me be honest about that. You've got your Goldman Sachs, big trading firm in America.
Yes.
You've got your PwCs and you've got your McKinsey's, big consulting firms. They have predicted 400 million plus job losses before 2030. These are their predictions, and they range, but you see, I'm using the lower end, 400 million plus jobs lost globally. Now, there's also going to be, there's going to be jobs that are going to be created, right? So you don't just, of course, the technology will replace some jobs, but now we're going to need more highly specialized individuals.
Because someone needs to control that, right?
Exactly. Now you need less people, of course, but there are going to be jobs that are going to be created as we move forward. And so it's, like I say, it's a double-sided sword. And what you want to do as an individual is you want to position yourself to make sure that you can ride the wave of AI and not get drowned by the wave of AI.
Sure. But also, Chuma, like, I'm just looking at, your universities, your schools. Should that not be part of the syllabus already? If that's where we're moving, shouldn't that make it part of what we are learning? So CAT, for example, is something that is done in high school. Cool. Should CAT not somehow integrate AI learning?
My sister, here's the thing. Education is very much like legislation. They are very slow to act. It takes more than 3 years to bring about change to the syllabus and the degree. There's so much red tape. So there's no better university than the University of YouTube. I don't care if you went to Harvard, Stanford, or UCT, you will never outperform anyone who goes to the University of YouTube and the University of the Internet, because there the information is current. So cool, universities might not teach us everything, but it's a place to learn, it's a place to network. It's up to you to take your own initiative to go and upskill yourself outside of universities. And listen, I'm with you. Universities should be part of this, right? But it doesn't change the fact that they are very slow to act, and they are not. So you can either complain that we are not being taught, and I was once in that position, or you can be proactive and go and
empower yourself,
because it's your future at the end of the day.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's look at future outlook now. Okay, let's talk the future quickly. What are some of the best case and worst scenarios for the future in terms of AI?
Could you be more specific?
So we know maybe some of the worst scenarios in terms of AI would be, people losing jobs.
Okay.
But they might be best case scenarios where we develop things that, help us progress.
Cool. Let me tackle that. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I think, like you say, my biggest concern is people losing work, right? That is a real concern, because people need to work. Work gives us purpose. Work gives us the ability to provide, and it gives us the ability to meet people. Of course, we've got remote work now. I'm a remote worker myself, but work is a big part of an adult's life. So that is concerning. Now, there's worse areas like the military integration that we spoke about there, and how you can, through AI, kill large sums of people.
Sure.
Then, on the positive side of things, we are going to see there's more positives than negatives, in my view. And I could be biased because I'm a tech guy.
Sure.
So it's going to transform just the way we live. I know people love convenience, and that's going to come with AI. People want information at the tip of their fingers. So why Google stuff when we can GPT stuff? And of course, if you on the paid version, it's connected to the internet. So that's a lot more efficient than the one that's updated up until 2022. Healthcare. There's diseases that can't be cured or solved or treated simply because humans are not capable of spotting the trends. And with things like machine learning, which is in that umbrella of computer science, AI, and so forth, we are going to be able to cure a lot of diseases.
Sure.
So yes, there's positives, there's negatives. It just depends on which side of the sword but it's going to transform everyone's life. That's for sure.
Look,
no one's safe.
Yeah, look, you spoke about, healthcare, and we know that, for example, climate change is a real thing, whether you accept it or not, right? I want to know from you, how can AI be used to address the global challenges, your things like your climate change, like, healthcare?
You're exposing me,
Come on, you know
yeah,
this. This is you,
I'm
bro.
being exposed. Oh, my sister. Listen, let me say right off the bat, I'm not the most knowledgeable person when it comes to climate change and so forth. It really hasn't been something, an area of interest for me. I understand, of course, I'm well aware of its effects and how it's affecting even countries up in Africa. Massive floods, the poles are what you call this melting and so forth, and weather is changing. I think with the technology we have, it's probably going to be able to inform some of the questions that we've had over time. So
Sure.
maybe being able to analyze the data, maybe being able to predict weather, so that government can buttress people, be able to see, okay, this is what is most likely to happen based on the data, past data, and this is how we can assist people. So maybe move people or have support services on the ground before things become catastrophic, So yeah, I think in that sense it's going to be very beneficial, but I can't go very deep in terms of artificial intelligence
Sure.
and climate change.
Sure. Sure. I think there's a question, well, not a question, more than a point by Afika, saying that the Department of Basic Education has actually announced that they plan to introduce robotics and coding into the school curriculum. So there's some movement then in that case, which is nice. But Ueli Uti, great input there by Chums. This is as much needed conversation. Our fear of AI cannot be compared to the progress we stand to gain. Address the attitudes towards AI, and you solve the problem. Well done, Kuma. So yeah, people are liking you and they're hearing you. I want us to go quickly with personal insights, because I feel like you obviously have a personal insight on this. This is something that you've had interest in for a while now. And you kind of, like, as someone that's deeply involved in tech field, what concerns you most about the current trajectory of the AI development?
Okay. Firstly, thank you very much, Prof. That's Prof. Willie over there.
All right.
Very, very hardworking individual. I don't know how he goes about his business, but if I can quickly tackle Africa's point very quickly. Friend of mine, Mbasa Venene, he sent me actually that same article. My concern with the Department of Basic Education, they have failed to put computer labs in schools. We've got schools, kids studying outside. So yes, they've introduced coding and robotics into schools, but the challenge is it's the implementation. What's going to happen, it's going to be schools within the cities that are going to benefit again. And we're going to see that, that divide broaden. So I'm not too confident in the people that are implementing this. And I'm not saying they shouldn't do it. Of course they should, but I'm concerned that the gap is just going to further expand, yes. But personal insights, my sister, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I think the journey has just been amazing. I learn about new things every single day. I preach about this thing. I evangelize about it. I use it in my daily life. I think it's going to help us as individuals take giant leaps into the future. It's going to help us leapfrog, whether it's in education, whether it's in science,
Healthcare,
for instance, your ability to earn, your ability to conduct your work. So I'm very optimistic. Of course, it'll have its drawbacks, and that's fine.
Part of life.
It's part of life. You can't oppose change, because what's going to happen is you're going to be fighting a losing battle. So I really don't want to focus on that. But I think artificial intelligence is the single most important thing. And it's going to be for the next 20, 30 years. And I'll even say this. we are in the dot-com bubble of the late 90s and early 2000s. And if you're not positioning yourself,
you're gonna get left behind.
Know what you do.
You're gonna get left behind.
And I'm not saying everyone must go into tech, but look at your career, look at what you do for a living, try and infuse AI into your work. I promise you, you will differentiate yourself amongst your colleagues and so forth, and you'll stand out. And when it's time for that guillotine to drop, you'll be on the right side of the guillotine. So I think that's my motivation to people.
Yeah. Okay, last one before I let you go. Because we could literally sit here and talk all day.
For sure.
What advice would you then give to policymakers and the public at large just regarding AI?
Policymakers, we need government to come forward.
Yeah.
Right. And the same is true for educational institutions. They need to come forward. I'm not seeing universities have these conversations, you know, and it's rather disappointing because universities are places of learning and they're supposed to inform or create the conversation within society. So I'd like to see a little bit more of them come into play because they're the smart people and they need to tell government institutions what to do because they conduct research.
Sure.
Right. In terms of policy makers, we still don't have a comprehensive document on AI as South Africa, which is concerning because AI is not something that just came yesterday or 2 years ago, but we've seen it become a buzzword in the last 2 years, and we still don't have an actual stance or a comprehensive document in terms of how we're going to regulate this thing, where is it going to go, how are we going to buttress our people from the job losses, you know, because industry is definitely going to use it. Like I said, they're concerned about revenue, profits, and making sure that their pockets are filled. And we can't be angry at them for that, but government needs to come through. How are we going to upskill these people
to
so
the
that,
party.
you know, we lessen that skills divide once again. Second part of your question was motivation to people. Upskill yourself. You know, go to the University of YouTube and try and gain as much knowledge as you can. You will thank yourself in the next 5-10 years. You know, or even as early as tomorrow because it'll simplify your life.
There we go.
Thank you so much, Quax.
Wow. Thank you so much, Tums, for coming to hang out with me and having this important conversation because I feel like it is. I mean, AI is something that we're really scared to talk about because it's something that we don't necessarily know. And I feel the more conversations like this are had, the better understanding and won't be so standoffish to it and be so scared of it. I feel that, you know, we need to have more of these conversations. I feel like people need to obviously you know, kind of also educate themselves about this. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out and coming through and unpacking this. It was very, very nice. I feel like we could speak all day. But I know my producers actually are like, Quax, time. So now I'm like, okay, sure, time. But yeah, speaking of time, it's just gone 48 minutes after the hour of 10 o'clock. This has been the Jump Off on KNR Radio on a Tech Tuesday. Been hanging out with Tums. We've been having a good time. Any last words, Tums, before I let you go?
My sister, thank you for the opportunity. I think I'm looking at my watch now and I can't believe how much time has passed. It felt like 10 minutes. So
right.
Props to you for being a great host. And, thank you for the opportunity, man, just to put myself out there. And thank you to all of the viewers back at home that tuned in, the questions, the comments, and so forth.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.
Upiwe Amanda Ziba is like a very informative session. And she's giving you a young little
thank you so much
fist bump. And Mutau is saying quantum computing is causing universities to freak out because the machines can now know the entire university library at a fraction of the time. Do you care to comment there before we let you go?
Not an expert on quantum computing. I think my brother there is highly specialized, you know, but it goes back to that thing, data.
Sure.
If it has access to data, it can do something.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have the full context and data, then it's limited, you know.
Sure.
So that's always going to be a factor.
Sure. All right. Great stuff as always. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday afternoon. Is it an afternoon or morning? the rest of the morning.
What you decided is.
Yeah, man. Hopefully we can do this again.
I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome stuff. All right, we're going to get into some music right now. And then, of course, at 11 o'clock.